Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Radhani Gopi Jana Vallabha Radhani Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Sodanandana Brajajalanandana Yasodanandana Brajajalanandana Jamnatira Vanachari Yamnatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Radhani Gopi Jana Vallabha Radhani Sodanandana Brajajalanandana Sodanandana Brajajalanandana Jamnatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Radhani Sodanandana Brajajalanandana Jamnatira Vanachari Yamna Tira Panachari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Radha, Parthasarthi, Radha, Parthasarthi, Radha. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Haribo, 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 Haribo. जय हो विश्व पार्वती divine Krishna Vaishnava Bhakti Radha Swami Shri Prabhupada Maharaj ki Shri Radha Parthasarthi ki Shri Gauritai ki Shri Sitaram Lakshmanan ki Translated Book Distribution Marathon ki. All glories to the Simmaluri. All glories to the Simmaluri. or go to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. On this side, I should do English or Hindi.
Gopal, you said us and disciples from the US.
कितने भक्त हैं इस सभा में जो कि अंग्रेजी नहीं समझते? कितने भक्त हैं जो कि अंग्रेजी नहीं समझते? समझो Mix both. I will go in Hindi then. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
हरे कृष्णा सभी प्लीज अपने मोबाइल बंद करें वाइब्रेटर पे प्लीज बंद करें बहुत सीधा हो गया
So what are we doing? Hindi? Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14, text 34-35, no? I will do it in Hindi. Okay. Yeah, just these are prose verses. So just word by word and then.
क्वचित्तवादादि अनेक दैविक भौतिकात्म्यानां दुःखानां प्रतिनिवारणे अकल्पो दुरन्त विषय विषण्ण आस्ते. Word by word meaning more?
Yeah.
Can you repeat after me the synonyms and the translation of these divine graces of Kirtans from Srila Prabhupada ki Dvachet sometimes Shita Vata Adi such as extreme cold or wind Aneka many Daivika offered by the demigods of powers beyond our control offered by other living entities. Atmiyana, offered by the conditioned material body and mind. Dukkhana, the many miseries. Pratinararane, peace contracting. Pratinivarane, contracting. Kalpaha, being unable. Duranta, insurmountable. Vishaya, connection with sense gratification. Vishannaha, morose. Aste, he remains. Can you repeat after me the translation? The conditioned soul suffers many miserable bodily conditions, such as being affected by severe cold and strong winds. He also suffers due to the activities of other living beings and due to natural disturbances. When he is unable to counteract them and has to remain in a miserable condition, he naturally becomes very morose because he wants to enjoy material facilities.
Text 35.
पूजन्नितो व्यवहारं यत्किञ्चित् धनम् उपयाति वित्तसाध्येन क्वचित् sometimes or somewhere. Vikam Vyavaharan, transacting with each other. Yeah, whatever. Kinche, little bit. Dhanam, material wealth, or benefit. Upayati, he obtains. Vittasatyena, the means of cheating someone of his wealth. Translation spoken by Grace, the Prabhupada. Sometimes conditioned souls exchange money, but in due course of time, enmity arises because of cheating. Although they may get tiny profit, the conditioned souls cease to be friends and become enemies. Gopal, kindly listen to me intently. Please, Gopal, please. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.8, Pumsas Priya Indi Bhavamenam Kayor Vito Hridya Kranti Mahu Atho Gradha Kshetra Sutapta Vidyar Janasya Mohoyam Aham Mameti. The monkey-like conditioned soul first becomes attached to sex, and an intercourse actually takes place. It becomes more attached. Even requires the material comforts, apartment, house, food, friends, wealth, and so on. In order to acquire these things, he has to cheat others, and this creates enmity, even among the most intimate friends. Sometimes this enmity is created between the conditioned soul and the father or spiritual master. Unless one is firmly fixed in the regulative principles, one may perform mischievous acts, even if one is a member of the Krishna consciousness movement. We therefore advise our disciples to strictly follow the regulative principles. Otherwise, the most important movement for the upliftment of humanity will be hampered due to dissension among its members. Those who are serious about pushing forward this Krishna consciousness movement should remember this and strictly follow the regulative principles so that their minds will not be disturbed.
Om Gyan Tivinandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurmunitanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Savitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dudati Swavam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sadevam Sadvaitam Sodhutam Shri Radha Krishna Padar Sagana Lalita Shri Vyam Hey Krishna Tapta Vancha kalpa tarvyascha kripa sindhu bhayavacha Nitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Hare Krishna जिन्हें इंग्लिश समझ नहीं आता वो एक कोने में बैठ सकते हैं और कोई अनुवाद कर सकता है साथ साथ So Shukadeva Goswami is describing what we are all experiencing. Actually, if you read the Bhagavatam, you will see that 5,000 years ago, they were able to predict exactly what will happen. If you read the Bhagavatam, it so accurately describes what will take place. Now over here he's saying, the Shukadeva Goswami says, the conditioned soul suffers many miserable bodily conditions. such as affected by severe cold and strong winds. We are constantly experiencing miseries, isn't it? Krishna says, Dukkhala Mashashatam. The characteristic of the material world is there's nothing but misery and everything is temporary. So the conditioned soul experiences a variety of miseries, and there are also natural disturbances. Adidevik, Adibodhi, Adhyatma Klesha. Klesha means misery. So we receive this misery actually through 7 means. Birth, that disease, old age, that is unavoidable. And in addition, you're experiencing 3 other types of misery. Misery is caused by the mind, other living entities, and chill nature. The mind causes misery in various ways. You see that somebody has something which you don't have, you feel bad, isn't it? You're standing for a bus in a queue, bus stop, and people are driving by in cars with only one passenger. Then your mind really gets upset. I have to stand over here for hours and hours, and that man is going with an empty car. So you see some nice product being advertised, your mind says, let's get that product. So the mind is troubling us in various ways. Then other living entities, they are also troubling us. Even the mosquito says, I will not let you sleep in peace. And they're ready to bother you. And then material nature. Material nature is causing havoc in so many ways. Earthquake, floods, drought, etc. So it is being stated here that the living entity experiences a variety of difficulties, and the materialist, he becomes very morose. He becomes very sad, and he wants to enjoy, but he can't enjoy. For example, nobody likes to get old. Does anybody like old age? If somebody was to exchange, if somebody was to offer some business to make an old man into a young man, he'll be happy. Nobody likes old age, but still it comes. We try to avoid the appearance of old age, but you can't experience it. You can hide the appearance for some time, but you can't stop it. So we want to be happy. We don't want old age. Does anyone like disease? Well, some people do like disease. The doctors and the pharmaceutical manufacturers. Just like now with the new virus, all big companies are making vaccination. They all want to become rich. So someone may say, no one benefits from this virus, but that's not true. The companies that are trying to make vaccination and medicines, sure they benefit. But we don't want old age, generally. And certainly, no one wants death. But still, it comes. During Lord Ram's regime, during Ram Rajya, in Treta Yuga, you could select your own moment of death. Even death would come only after you had agreed. But that's not possible in today's environment. So it is being explained over here that the living entity is experiencing so many different types of diseases, so many different types of pain. And he would like to be in a position that he may be able to enjoy, but he can't really enjoy. So therefore Krishna says, send unto me. Now in the next verse, this verse didn't have any purport. It is being described. The conditioned souls try to cheat each other. And even though there is only a little profit, just for the sake of money, they will fight. As we all know, money, they say, is sweeter than honey, isn't it? Money is sweeter than honey. Why is money so sweet? Well, money enables you to experience sense gratification. The ultimate goal is sense gratification. Just like people are very worried about environmental control. Everyone is saying, reduce the pollution, reduce the noise. Now why are they saying reduce the pollution? Because if pollution levels are high, then you can't engage in sense enjoyment. And because the sense enjoyment is being disturbed, therefore they say, come on, we will reduce the pollution level. So the conditioned soul wants to be happy, but in reality what he experiences, nothing but misery. So the Bhagavatam is guiding us on this path. The Bhagavatam is guiding us that actually there is no real happiness in material life. And if we want real happiness, what do? We take to spiritual life. So, the Bhagavatam, through a series of verses, explains this point again and again. Now, this is not the first time this point is being presented. Is this the first time? Is this the first verse? No. Just Bharat was explaining this philosophy to King Ravana, and he has explained it in so many chapters, this philosophy. And even in this chapter, this point gets repeated again and again. Why? Because we are so conditioned to what we know that we have to keep hearing it regularly to digest this. Nasta Peshu Abhadreshu Nitya Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, it doesn't say by occasionally hearing the Bhagavatam. Is that what it says? It says by regularly hearing the Bhagavatam, all that is troublesome in the heart is destroyed. And what gets established? Pure devotional service. Just like we chant. Of course, when you're preaching to someone for the first time, you may just chant. But as you get more serious, you understand that if I want to benefit, I have to chant the holy name every day. So we need to hear this philosophy. We need to chant on a daily basis. Then this thing will sink into our heart. So the living conditioned soul is experiencing material bodily difficulties. But he's so conditioned that he doesn't want to give it up. Prabhupada used to give the example of the hog. The hog eats stool and he thinks he's very happy. So the power of illusion is such that in whatever form of body we are, we think that we can enjoy. But one whose intelligence knows what is real happiness. So that the living entity is constantly being disturbed, and he wants real happiness, but he can't get it. Prahlad Maharaj obtained spiritual knowledge when he was in the womb of his mother. And who did he obtain this knowledge from? Narada Muni. His father could never understand who is educating my son. He would think that the Vaishnavas are coming in disguise and brainwashing my son. And he would chastise the teachers, Sandana Marga. You are not watching over my son carefully. The Vaishnavas are coming here in disguise. And they would say, don't accuse us. We're also Brahmins. We don't know ourselves where he gets this knowledge from. But he was getting it from, he already had it when he was in his mother's womb. So Prahlad Maharaj says, people do not know how real happiness can be found. So, over here we see the Bhagavatam is reminding us, you're experiencing misery which we don't want, and unless you're very fortunate, we just go through the samsara of birth and death. And the Bhagavatam is pointing out, over small issues, there are fights for money. Now this is nothing new. Everybody is so attached to money that to get money, they will do anything. Over here it says, people will cheat. Cheating today is a very common activity. At one time, just your word was more than a signed agreement. But today, in today's environment, you can have a signature, you can have it notarized, still people don't care. So, just to exchange money, they cheat. And they may be the best friends, become enemies. But forget friends. You can be relatives. You can be the father with his son. How many times you read in the papers, father and son fighting? Is that common? How many times you hear brothers fighting just for little bit of extra profit? And to make that profit, you have to cheat. Bhakti Siddhanta Ji used to say, it's a world of cheaters and cheated. People are ready to cheat, and people are ready to get cheated. Just like in politics. The politicians, when they run for office, they may do namaste and be very humble. But they're ready to cheat you. They promise you the moon to get votes. And people also know, yes, they're all cheaters. Still they'll vote. So in the material world, we are experiencing suffering in various ways. But actually what we want to do, as the verse says, we want to enjoy material facilities. But you can't enjoy it for long. Let's say you're a very rich man, you have all the facilities, wealth, etc. Can you stop death? Can you stop old age? Can you stop disease? Just like this virus that is widespread today everywhere, all over the world. Can they stop it? Even the vaccinations that they're bringing in, they are saying it will only be 90 to 95% effective. And if they are saying 90 to 95, it will probably be 50%. You know. So they are assuring us, we'll have a vaccination for you. But even if we give you some temporary relief, it's still short term. You still can't avoid old age disease death. Prabhupada used to say that these scientists, they claim they've gone into outer space and so on. So Prabhupada said, Prabhupada didn't first of all believe it. But then he said, even if they have gone, what have they achieved? Have they stopped death? Have they stopped old age? No. These are still very common. Birth, death, disease, old age, and the misery is caused by the mind. And it is further explained that due to money, due to getting some material benefit, we are ready to fight with our own brothers. There's so many cases you read of father and son fighting, brother fighting, husband and wife fighting. So in reality, there is nothing but misery. And because people don't have an understanding what should be the goal of life, they are lamenting. In the material world, they lament when they lose something. Hankering and lamenting. I've got a bad cold. Hankering and lamenting are very common. In the material world, what do? We hanker for what we don't possess. And we lament for what we have lost. So hankering and lamenting are very common. That is material life. Devotees also hanker and lament, but for a different reason. A devotee laments, I have spent so much of my I have spent so much of my time in useless activities. Now I should be very serious. As Srila said, a minute's loss cannot be made up with the wealth of the entire world. So a devotee thinks, I have wasted so much time. I was drinking poison. Now I should not waste 1 minute. Now I should use all my time in serving the Lord. That is our lamentation. And hankering, we hanker, we are enthusiastic to serve more and more. We are a letter by stating, you are ever well wished. So Prabhupada was the well-wisher of everyone. That's why, and even in hot weather, he didn't care whether it was rough or smooth. He was hankering to give people Krishna consciousness. So, in the material world, there is no real happiness. If you want real happiness, what is the alternative? Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, Sochiti Nirgati. If you want to experience spiritual happiness, if one engages in service to the Lord. In the purport, Prabhupada says, why are people attracted to money? He gives the example of being like a monkey. In this chapter, there are many verses that describe how people are just hankering for sex life. And Prabhupada gives the example of the monkey. And then, to realize and fulfill your material goals, you need more facilities. You need an apartment, you need a house to live in, you need a car to transport you, and it all boils down to what? Working hard just to get some more conveniences. And why do you want this convenience? You want this convenience because if you're a brahmachari, you can sleep anywhere. But if you're a householder, you naturally need a facility where you can live. So Prabhupada is explaining, our wish list goes on getting bigger and bigger. First you want a wife, then you want a house, then you want facilities to travel. So Prabhupada is saying, in order to obtain all these things, what do we have to do? We have to cheat. Without cheating, you can't make money. I've had so many businessmen tell me, G says you only make profit from you, then I go bankrupt. And then again, they make a company again, go bankrupt. So, because you have such a long list of material desires, then in order to fulfill them, you have to cheat. In order to acquire these things, he has to cheat. And this creates enmity even among the most intimate friends. So when you have to cheat, you don't care who the next person is. So, for cheating, they will even murder somebody, kidnap somebody. So in the material world, due to money, people are very attached to money. And why? Because money is the medium for all these facilities. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, you read the story of the Avanti Brahman. This Brahman, he was born in a Brahminical family. He wasn't necessarily a Brahmin. He was born in a Brahminical family, and he was doing business of agriculture and banking. And he was very rich. He became very rich. So rich. And he was so attached to his possessions. He had a lot of money, but he would not give one penny, one paisa to anyone. So as a result, his wife became his enemy. As a result, his children became his enemy. As a result, everyone became his enemy. Because he had so much money, but he would not use it for anyone. And he would not even use the money for himself. There are selfish people who make money, but they want to be the sole enjoyers. But this man, Avanti Brahman, he wasn't even interested in spending money to satisfy himself. And when you have money and you don't share it with your relatives, they become envious, isn't it? If you're sharing it with them, then it's okay. And all his relatives became his enemy. But then he lost his wealth. It is explained that you have wealth, you also make many enemies. For example, the thieves become your enemy. Chor. How? The thief says, this man has so much money, and we don't have so much. So I was planning to steal something. These robbers, they never invade a poor man's house. The poor man can sleep with his doors wide open. But a rich man, he has a boundary wall, then wiring on top of the boundary wall. Dogs, isn't it? Just to protect him. So when you're rich, you make many enemies. The thieves become your enemy. The relatives become your enemy. The relatives will say, due to our blessings, you become so rich. So give, share it with us. Then the government says, because of our good administration, you become rich now. Pay tax. And it's a material world is funny. On the one hand, government imposes laws to get taxes, and on the other hand, it recognizes a degree that people hanker for that tells you how to avoid taxes. On the one hand, you're studying how to tax and get more people. On the other hand, you're qualified to learn how to cheat. What do these tax experts do? They just teach you how to cheat. And that's legal also. Like in many countries, they have this radar that tells you or what speed, how much overspeeding you're doing. Like in India it's not so much, but in the West they have speed limits and you're only allowed to go to a certain speed. So what people do, they go very fast, but then they have a radar that tells you that the police car is hiding in the bushes. So then what they do, they slow down just where the police car is, and then they speed up again. So on the one hand, the government says you can't drive above 65 miles an hour. On the other hand, they're teaching you how you can cheat. So, in the middle of the government also becomes your enemy. It says, pay your taxes. So this Brahmin, he lost all his wealth. All of a sudden. Some wealth got stolen by his relatives, some by the government, some by the thieves. And this man became very poor. He became completely poverty-stricken. Initially, he was depressed that I've lost his wealth. But then, this depression turned into developing a mode of detachment. And then he became a great devotee of the Lord. Wherever he would go, people would make fun of him. But he was determined not to deviate from the spiritual path. So, as long as we don't take the spiritual life, we will always hanker and lament. But once you take the spiritual life, then you understand that I must use everything in service of the Lord. So people are attached to money only because money is a medium through which you can enjoy your senses. If money was not the medium, then money would have no value. In the purport, Prabhupada is saying, we should strictly follow the regulative principles. And he says the most important movement for the upliftment of humanity. Prabhupada, I'm sorry, I got a bad throat. Prabhupada would often say that this is the most important spiritual movement. And this movement should be recognized as one that has changed humanity. So this Krishna consciousness movement has a great goal ahead, and that is to make everybody Krishna conscious. Prabhupada is saying, sometimes people join our movement and they don't follow the regular principle. But he says, you want to hear what Prabhupada says? They are serious about pushing forward the Krishna consciousness movement and should strictly follow the regulative principles. Just like we have these regulative principles. Many times people say, in Iskcon, there are too many rules and regulations. Look at our Guru, he's so liberal. So these rules and regulations are there for our benefit. Prabhupada is stating very clearly that the members of the society must strictly follow the regulative principles so that they can have the mood of detachment and they can make spiritual advancement. Prabhupada says, we therefore advise our disciples to strictly follow the upliftment of humanity will be hampered due to dissension. If we don't follow the principles, we'll not be able to make spiritual advancement. We follow 4 regulative principles, isn't it? Now, obviously, following them is not so easy. But if you're chanting, from the chanting you get the strength and to fight Maya. Just like Krishna says, Devesha Guru Ramai Mama Maya Durataya Mama Mama Prabhadane Maya Matam. To overcome this illusory energy is very difficult. But if we surrender to Krishna, then you can do it. And so what does surrender mean? Sadhana Bhakti, and we follow the four regular principles. We get the strength to follow the four regular principles from chanting, reading, associating with devotees. And if we take advantage of Shravana Kirtanam, then you can control the mind and the senses. So, in the materialist is struggling and there is no happiness. We think that a little ahead there will be happiness, but there is no happiness. It's just like you see a mirage in the desert. In the desert, there is no water. But you stare, but the elephant, the animal thinks, oh, looking ahead, I see something like water. And he goes towards that goal. But he realizes there's nothing here. Little further, there'll be the water. But in the end, he died of thirst. His thirst was never satisfied. So similarly, in material life, we keep engaging in different activities. And because for these activities, you need money, and therefore people are ready to do anything to obtain money. If they have to cheat, if they have to lie, if they have to fight, they're ready to do it. Because their goal is sense enjoyment. Whereas Bhagavad is explaining in this chapter, and he has been explaining for the last 7 chapters, one simple point, that is engagement in devotional service. So Prabhupada is saying, sometimes our members of Iskcon also don't follow the rules strictly. And he's saying, if you want to lift humanity, then purity has to be the force. And purity comes from the process of following rules and regulations. These rules and regulations are there for a purpose. And what is that purpose? To enable us to make spiritual advancement. And if we chant and hear, then you get the strength. Rupa Goswami gave us many wonderful books, and one of them is Updeshramrit. In the Updeshramrit, Rupa Goswami says, the holy names of the Lord are sweet like sugar candy. The holy names of the Lord are sweet, and the qualities of the Lord are also sweet. But unfortunately, because our tongues is afflicted with a disease called what? Avidya. You cannot taste the sweetness of the holy name. So a question will arise, if we can't taste the sweetness, what's the use of our being a devotee? But this disease of avidya can be cured. How can it be cured? By attentive chanting of the holy name. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, Chuyeta Darpan Mahajana. One of the benefits of attentive chanting of the holy name is what? The heart becomes clear. So, initially, when we join the movement, we may find chanting 16 hours a real challenge. We may find following the regular principles to be impossible. But then as we endeavor, and accompany that endeavor with chanting and hearing, we gradually find it is possible. So, Prabhupada is saying in the purport that the members of the Krishna conscious movement must strictly follow their regulatory principles, and then their mind will not be disturbed. Why is the mind disturbed? Why do we say, I'm always disturbed? Why? Because on the one hand, we want spiritual life, and on the other hand, we want sense enjoyment also. And that's why we can't experience real happiness. But if we want to experience real happiness, then accept what is favorable and reject what is unfavorable. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, for Sharanagati, what is the first principle? Accept what is favorable. And two, reject what is unfavorable. So that should be our guide. We accept everything favorable for spiritual advancement, and we reject everything unfavorable. And if you are in doubt what is favorable, what is unfavorable, take the help. So in this chapter, the forest of enjoyment, Jad Bharat is continuing to explain the philosophy. And if we regularly hear this, our mind will always be fresh. And if we're spiritually alert, then you can fight Maya. Otherwise, to fight Maya is very difficult. And you may say, we are criticizing karmis for trying to make money. But aren't you people trying to make money also? Everything that you have in that temple is sold. Why don't you give it free? When you go for Gita book distribution, don't people say, most make you anything? So, what's our answer? Our answer is, yes, we do sell, but that is only to buy more products. And the money is used for preaching, not for anyone's individual comfort. Krishna is the ultimate proprietor of everything. And if we use it in Krishna's service, that is perfection. So if you want to make money for Krishna. And do not follow the path of cheating. Devotees want to be straightforward, and they want to avoid cheating. And the material people will cheat, do anything, as long as they can get some benefit. So, the members of the society, as Prabhupada says, should strictly follow the rules and regulations, and then this will be effective. And Prabhupada says, this is the one movement to save humanity. So, this Krishna conscious message is universal in nature. This message can be practiced by anyone in any part of the world. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is a ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge, and it is coming down through the parampara, through different acharyas. And since we are fortunate in getting this philosophy as it is, we follow it in the spiritual gain. So this book distribution marathon that has already started, that was the main purpose. The main purpose is to save humanity. ये जो ग्रंथों का वितरण का मैराथन है, इसका मूल उद्देश्य क्या है? समाज को ज्ञान देना, जिसके द्वारा वो जीवन को सुधार सके. और श्रीमद् भागवतम में शुरू से अंत तक केवल शुद्ध भक्ति के ज्ञान का वर्णन किया जा रहा है. और पहले तो आप जब स्कोर सुनाते थे, सिर्फ गीता का सुनाते थे. अब तो आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कि भागवतम सेट भी जा रहे हैं. और पहली बार है कि इतने भागवतम सेट बांटे जा रहे हैं. ये भागवतम सेट का मैराथन हुआ था, 6,000 से ज़्यादा सेट सारे विश्व में बटे थे. तो ये जो ग्रंथों की जो मैराथन की सेवा है, ये समाज के सुधार के लिए है. और चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने क्या कहा, यारे दाको ताए कहो कृष्ण बोले। तो इसमें हम सबको जुड़ना चाहिए। और आजकल ये तो थोड़ी चिंता है इसके वायरस के कारण, पर जब भी भक्तों का उत्साह देखे, सारे मंदिरों के भक्त प्रचार में जा रहे हैं। किसी ने ये नहीं कहा वायरस है मैं नहीं जाऊँगा, भक्त जा रहे। उल्टा हमने प्रयास किया था भक्तों को रोकने के लिए, उन्होंने कहा नहीं नहीं हम प्रचार करना चाह रहे हैं। तो ये होनी चाहिए वैष्णव का भाव। परा दुख दुखी, दूसरों को दुखी देकर हम सोचते हैं कैसे उनको उद्धार किया जाए। तो आप सब जुड़िए, ये मत सोचिए कि ये वायरस है तो ये बात जरूर है, कई स्थानों में हमें ज़्यादा सावधान रहना पड़ेगा, पर प्रचार का उत्साह और प्रचार को बढ़ाने का प्रयास सबको करना चाहिए। तो ये जो बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मैराथन है ये समाज के सुधार के लिए है। और प्रभुपाद जी ने क्या कहा, अगर तुम मुझे प्रसन्न करना चाहते हो तो क्या करो, क्यों, प्रॉफिट कमाने के लिए नहीं, क्योंकि इन ग्रंथों में है ज्ञान जिसके पालन से आप जीवन को सफल बना सकते हो। और आप खुद देखते हो भक्तों की संख्या अगर बढ़ रही है तो मूल कारण क्या है, मूल कारण है ग्रंथों का प्रभाव। हम जैसे कि संसार शुरू होने से पहले बहुत कम भक्त थे, कोई भी नहीं था। एक समय प्रभुपाद जी बिल्कुल अकेले थे, फिर प्रचार के द्वारा ग्रंथों का वितरण बढ़ा और उसके साथ क्या भक्तों की संख्या भी बढ़ी। ये नहीं ये सोचना चाहिए अगर हम 3 लाख गीता बांटेंगे तो 3 लाख नए भक्त तुरंत आ जाएंगे, पर वॉटरिंग द सीड, ये भक्ति का बीज हम बोल रहे। तो ये प्रचार की जो सेवा है बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। और प्रभुपाद जी कहते थे और 10,000 साल तक इन ग्रंथों को लोग पढ़ेंगे, तो उसके बाद माया का इतना तेज प्रभाव होगा कि आप कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे। तो इस मैराथन में सबको जुड़ना चाहिए, सबको प्रयास करना चाहिए, और अगर कठिन भी है तो भी प्रयास करना चाहिए। एंड गॉड हेल्प्स दोज जो खुद प्रयास करते हैं, मेहनत करते हैं, भगवान भी उनका सहयोग देते हैं। तो आप सब जुड़िए उत्साह के साथ और प्रयास करोगे तो सफलता भी प्राप्त होगी। प्रभुपाद जी कहते थे आप 1 कदम उठाओ, भगवान 10 कदम उठाएंगे। तो श्रीमद् भागवतम का हर श्लोक महत्वपूर्ण है और हर श्लोक के द्वारा शुद्ध भक्ति का ज्ञान मिल रहा है। और जो वैष्णव हैं वो चाहते हैं जैसे उनका सौभाग्य, जैसे उनको लाभ मिल रहा है लाभ दूसरों को भी मिलो। वैसे विप्र महाप्रभु के बड़े प्रिय भक्त थे, और जब महाप्रभु दक्षिण भारत की यात्रा में थे तो एक कुर्मा ब्राह्मण के घर में निवास कर रहे थे। तो जब महाप्रभु निकले कुर्मा ब्राह्मण के घर से तो वहाँ पहुँचे कौन, वास्तव विप्र। इन्हें कोढ़ की बीमारी थी और पूरा शरीर भरा हुआ था कीड़ों के साथ। तो वो इतने दयालु थे कि अगर कोई कीड़ा गिरता भी था उनके शरीर से उसको वापस जोड़ देते थे। तो महाप्रभु को पता लगा कि वो अंतर्यामी है, कि वास्तव विप्र उन्हें मिलने आया है, और क्योंकि वो मिल नहीं पाया बड़ा दुखी है। तो महाप्रभु वापस लौटे और उन्होंने उन्हें क्या गले लगा लिया। गले लगाने के पश्चात ये वास्तव विप्र का बदसूरत शरीर एकदम खूबसूरत बन गया और एक युवक जैसे दिखने लगे। तो उनके मन में ये भय था कि लोग ये नहीं सोचे वो अभी मैं खूबसूरत बन गया हूँ, मैं घमंडी नहीं बन जाऊँ। तो उन्होंने महाप्रभु से पूछा ये क्या करना चाहिए कि विनम्र भाव ही रहे। महाप्रभु ने क्या कहा, शेयर हरे कृष्णा एंड पीस द ग्लोरीज ऑफ हरे कृष्णा। और इस प्रकार तो हमेशा विनम्र भाव से रहोगे। और प्रभु जी आगे कहते हैं जिस प्रकार वासुदेव विप्र का उद्धार हुआ उसी प्रकार इस संसार के हर भक्त का उद्धार हुआ है। तो हमें क्या करना चाहिए, अपने स्वार्थ का सोचना और दूसरों के स्वार्थ का सोचना। इसलिए पापा जी कह रहे हैं सब भक्तों को प्रचार करना चाहिए। तो ये है हमारे आचार्यों का आदेश। तो हमें इसका लाभ उठाकर प्रयास को बढ़ाना चाहिए। हरे कृष्णा। I have to go. Any questions? Take only one or two questions. हाँ बोलिए। बोलिए। What's your question?
Hare Krishna. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to ask a question. We've covered so much in such a short time. My question to Maharaj, that you mentioned about determination to advance in Krishna consciousness comes by following the principles of devotional service, the rules and regulations. And this was a question that was asked long back to Gopal also, and Gopal said that, and then somebody asked him, how do we get the determination to follow the related principles? So Prabhupada said, then you're an animal if you're not able to follow.
Oh, you are?
So you're an animal if you're not able to follow, you don't have the determination to follow the related principles. So my question is, we still at a certain level also, we are all struggling, at least some of us are struggling with related principles subtly. So how does one develop the determination to follow the related principles?
Rupa Goswami in the Bhagavad Samhita Sindhu describes the process of devotional service. He says, Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu. In the first step, we should have the desire to cultivate spiritual life. And if your desire is sincere, then the Lord will get you the required spiritual association. This may be in the form of a book or in the form of a devotee. Like so many people join the movement because of the book. And then when you do bhajana kriya, then what happens? Ananda. And then nishtha, which is sort of determination. So determination comes from practice. Bhajana kriya, following the rules and regulations. In today's verse, Prabhupada says in the purport that sometimes a member of a society also becomes spiritually weak. But he says they should not become weak, and they should strictly follow, then they'll be able to save humanity. Like in today's purport, Prabhupada says this is the only movement that can uplift humanity. Is that okay? आज दो महान संतों का भी तिरोभाव स्थिति है, एक भगवा गोस्वामी और कैसे पंडित, आज उनका तिरोभाव स्थिति है। तो जो भगवा गोस्वामी थे वो थे गदाधर पंडित के शिष्य, और चैतन्य महाप्रभु की प्रेरणा से वो वृंदावन आए थे। वो वैसे तो रूपा और सनातन को भी चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने भेजा था, पर उनके वृंदावन में आने से पहले भूगार्भा ब्रह्मचारी आ गए थे और उन्होंने प्रयास किया था खोजने को उन स्थानों के लिए जहाँ कि भगवान ने अपनी दिव्य लीला प्रकट की थी। और भूगार्भा भू का अर्थ है पृथ्वी। तो वो जैसे गौर किशोरदास बाबू जी वो जप माला करते थे वो लैट्रिन के अंदर बैठकर, कोई उनको डिस्टर्ब नहीं करे। तो स्वामी ब्रह्मचारी ने अंडरग्राउंड केव बना दिया था कि इसके लिए उनका नाम है बुकारवा। अंडरग्राउंड केव बनाया था कि वहाँ जाप करेंगे तो कोई उनको तंग करने नहीं आएगा। तो आज उनका तिरुभाव तिथि है, उनकी समाधि रूप गोस्वामी जी की समाधि के निकट है। तो आज है उनका तिरुभाव तिथि। और आज कशिश्वरा पंडित के भी तिरुभाव है। कशिश्वरा पंडित ईश्वरपुरी के शिष्य थे। और ईश्वरपुरी किन के गुरु थे? तो उनका बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग फिजिक था। तो कशिश्वर पंडित सेवा करते थे अपने गुरु की। उनके गुरु ने कहा, ईश्वरपुरी ने, तुम जाकर महाप्रभु की सेवा करो। तो महाप्रभु के पास आए सेवा करने के लिए। महाप्रभु ने कहा, तुम तो मेरे गुरु भाई हो, तुम्हारे से मैं सेवा थोड़ी ले सकता हूँ। तो महाप्रभु ने इनकार कर दिया। फिर महाप्रभु ने इनकार कर दिया सेवा लेने से। फिर कशिश्वर ने कहा, पर ये तुम्हारे गुरु का ऑर्डर है। और फिर उन्होंने उनसे थोड़ी सेवा ली। और कशिश्वर पंडित जब महाप्रभु रथ यात्रा करते थे हर साल जगन्नाथपुरी में, तो उनके आगे और पीछे 3 सर्कल थे भक्तों का। उनमें से एक सर्कल की देखभाल कशिश्वर पंडित करते थे, क्योंकि वो बड़े स्ट्रॉन्ग फिजिक के थे। तो जब वो महाप्रभु को लोग मिलने जाते थे उन्हें रोक देते थे। आज उनका तिरुभाव तिथि है। तिरुभाव तिथि का अर्थ आज के दिन वो अप्रकट हुए थे। तो हम भक्तों को महान संतों के चरणों में प्रणाम करते हुए उनसे ये भीख मांगनी चाहिए कि हमें आप शक्ति दीजिए जिसके द्वारा हम हरि नाम के प्रति आकर्षित हों। वो क्या, कशिश्वर पंडित दिन रात हरि नाम करते थे, गोस्वामी में भी। हमारे में यही भावना होनी चाहिए कि हरि नाम में रुचि बढ़े। या This is the last question.
Maharaj. Maharaj, in today's verse and purport, we had discussed about Prabhupada about the essential between the members of the Krishna consciousness movement. Sometimes this dissension takes on a philosophical platform. In fact, many devotees have different philosophical conclusions. We read the same proverb, but we come to different conclusions. So, Maharaj, is it possible that we resolve this, or rather we acknowledge the differences?
Good question. There's a saying in Iskcon, different strokes for different folks. So that means you can take the same verse and give it 2 different interpretations. But your question is, by and large there is no dissension, but there is to some extent. Sometimes people want to be too smart. So then they start giving their own interpretation. But Prabhupada gave us purpose with his books so that there would be no room for speculation. But it's Kali Yuga, so you can expect a certain amount of dissension. But there's no dissension on the point Krishna is supreme. Isn't it? Whether you talk to the Ritviks or non-Ritviks, nobody says Krishna is not the supreme. Nobody says don't chant Hare Krishna. Nobody says don't follow regulative principles. So, okay. Mohanabhai, want to say something about the marathon?
Just on the report from Mahaprabhu's team and Madhusudan Road's team.
Hare Krishna.
Mike, man.
Thank you.
Bhava Prabhu and Vasudha Prabhu.
गोपी भाव प्रभु 34 भक्तों के साथ गए हैं ट्रैवलिंग.
Yeah, last 2 days they have distributed around 1200 Bhagavad Gitas.
And this is one-to-one,
1 to 1, yes.
mainly. Not one sponsorship for 20,000 Gitas.
Gopi Bhava Prabhu's team is in Indore and Madhusudar Prabhu's team is in Bangalore. And they have distributed 2 days for 1500 Bhagavad Gitas.
These are real Mahatmas. क्योंकि इस वातावरण में सड़क में जाना, लोगों से विनती करना कि आप ग्रंथ लो, requires a lot of surrender. So, आप में से कौन से भक्त ये साल मैराथन में जुड़ गए हो? तो सबको. Anything else? Any special program? पापा से एक समय किसी ने पूछा मैराथन शब्द का अर्थ क्या है, क्योंकि अब इस होंगे किसी मंदिर में जाओ जहाँ अंग्रेजी मातृभाषा नहीं है, मैराथन का अर्थ सबको पता है. तो पापा से लेस स्लीपिंग, लेस ईटिंग. तो मैराथन में कुछ एक्स्ट्रा प्रयास होना चाहिए. तो सब जुड़िए इस मैराथन में. ओके, हरे कृष्ण.